Hi, Scritty here, demondemon.com. Had a few queries in the last couple of days about the problems people are having using special operators in their search terms when they are searching for new footprints or scraping new footprints. And I mean things like in URL, should have a colon after it, causing these issues. And they do. Google seems to have tightened up on that. All I can say is scrape very, very slowly if you're using those, with a ratio of probably 20 proxies per thread. And you can get away with it then, but they have tightened up. You can also consider using similar operators, ever so slightly subtle rules, slightly different rules in Yahoo and things like that, and you'll get away with it there as well. And Yahoo is always worth using because it does actually have a bigger index normally than Google, or traditionally it's had a bigger index than Google. And talking of index, that brings us on to the next one, is why some seemingly extremely good footprints fail, and I'll just run through why they fail. This one looks like an excellent footprint. It's looking for in URL register and then powered by ELG. So this would be one of the issues you have is you're finding sites that aren't ELG, or they're just people talking about ELG sites, or people sometimes sort of just talking about scraping ELG sites, and you're finding those. Or the ELG sites themselves are closed and don't have a register page. And by having in URL register and powered by ELG, which is exactly what this has. This is, if I just F5 this, actually put it back, and there we are. Marthastokes.com has register, and down here it's got powered by. So in URL is register, and there's powered by ELG, and you clearly can sign up because it is that page. It's a big problem here. Is that the search engines don't index these pages. Here's another one, and more or less exactly the same, a different one, communityinfrastructure.com. The register pages, these are just template, copy pages with no real unique text or any value to Google, so they don't index them. So when you're scraping, what you're doing is you're checking the Google index of pages, and if Google hasn't indexed the page, it won't return that in the search results that you get through Scrapebox or the Ultimate Daemon Zone scraper. So most of these pages, although it's an excellent footprint sort of mathematically, if you like, practically Google doesn't index these pages, so you're not going to get any joy from it. That's a shame. It is worth sometimes running that little one just to add a few, but it doesn't, so you have to look for other things, and there are other things on here. For instance, bookmarks appears on nearly every ELG site, as does the word login. So you might want to put to specify it down a little bit further, to tighten your search terms, you might want to put bookmarks. Some don't have bookmarks in, but most do. I think most also have groups in, so you might want to, you can tighten up your searches with that. I'd also, with ELG, put in at least 25,000 search terms. Use Scraper. There are lists of English words and phrases which you can find on the forums with 120,000 words in. Take 2 or 3 days to scrape the lot, but it's worth it, especially if you've got a second server. Just let it keep chunking away, and every so often go in and every day go in and remove the duplicate so it doesn't run out. And if it gets close to 1 million, bear in mind Scrapebox crashes at about 1 million. Take the existing stuff out, take the list out and carry on with the old list, and then eventually go back in and remove the duplicates. Anyway, there's the idea there. Next thing is, why don't some of them, which are perfectly good ELG sites, work? And that is there are a few different variations of ELG that have come out over the years, and I am just picking on ELG. This is the same for all the sites. Every site you can think of, there are subtle variations. They update the version number, ELG 1.0, ELG 1.01, and whatever. And sometimes they change the way the sign-up script or submission script changes, and that can mess up the whole process. So this is the standard one. You're on this page, and what the submission script will do for Martha Stokes, it will go, right, let's log in, let's register. So Ultimate Daemon will come in and it will click the register button, and it will come to this page, and that's great. But there are sites like this that log in, and you think, oh, straight away it's slightly different. It's not very well lined up, is it? Slightly different. Log in. Press log in. Right, for straight away it's a drop down, so it's different. If it gets past that, it doesn't register on a page. There is no registry page. There is instead a pop-up, a pane in fact, here, and there are several variations, and Ultimate Daemon needs to know how to work with every single one of these. Whether it can work with these panes, I'm not 100% certain whether it does or it doesn't. But as you can see, it's not the same process. Most are. Most you go that. You know, if you came out of this one, you'd see it's exactly the same process here. Register, and you come to this page. So these two pages, other than the title at the top and a few of the categories, look more or less identical. So there's the issues. That's why, first of all, Google don't like these. Don't like too many queries with these operators in. They'll ban proxies very, very quickly. Whereas they might let a proxy be used for a query X times per hour normally, that seems to be divided by 5 or 10 if you're using the special operators. So you've got to be very, very careful. And it's also why the register command doesn't always work. Why adding register to it doesn't always work is because the registered pages aren't indexed. If they're not indexed, the scraper's not going to find them in the first place. And the third point is why sometimes Ultimate Daemon, you can find a perfectly good ALG site and Ultimate Daemon can't create your account on it, is because it uses a different method. So with this, I would just say, you might want to do powered by ELG, and then to weed out a lot of them that aren't there, maybe put in inverted commas afterwards blogs or groups or register. And that would get rid of most of the false. If you could tighten your search term, then the 1,000 or the 100 or whatever, how many scrapebox scrapes are going to be more tightly focused on what you're actually after, and that's what you want. You want your results. If you're getting 100,000, 200,000 results, you want most of those to be ALG sites and not the other way around. I mean, I'm lucky if I'm finding 20 ALG sites in 10,000 results at the moment, but it's a case of adding on. Other sites you find much more frequently than that. But anyway, there's sort of the reasons why a few things happening and a couple of tips on making decent footprints. ScrittyDemonDemon.com, signing off.